What up, brawlers? Welcome back to Throwin Hands. I'm Jacob Janoski, per usual, but Danny Woods isn't here right now, but he might come in a hot minute. But I'm joined by Brittney Cloudy. Brittney, how you doing?
Oh man, hey, I can't complain. I'm doing well.
All right, that's good to hear. So, you were a teacher before you started in MMA. What,
That's correct.
what was the career change? Why the career change?
I guess it wasn't really a complete change because I was pursuing both at the same time. I went to school for education. I always wanted to be a teacher, and I mean, I still do, still a big part of me. But I've always been an athlete. So I just finally got to a point to where I was in a position to where I could actually pursue my athletic endeavors wholeheartedly. And so I just took an opportunity to go out on a whim and just, give MMA my all.
So, you say that you're an athlete. So, how'd you get started in MMA?
Well, I was around the sport a lot through mutual friends, and I went to some MMA fights, and I was just watching as a spectator at first because really I knew much of nothing about it. Then after watching over about a year or so, I was like, okay, I'm learning some things. This is a lot more than what it appears to be. So when I decided that I didn't want to compete in track anymore, I wanted to get into jiu-jitsu and boxing. So I started taking some classes, and from there I really enjoyed it and I just stuck with it.
Now, you say like there's a lot more to what meets the eye than when it comes to MMA. Do you think that was an appealing part of it because it was so complex?
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes when people watch the sport, it's just like, oh, there's this aggression and people are punching people in the face and it's exciting. However, like after just watching and learning more about like the technique and the different disciplines of martial arts, was really fascinated because it's a sport that requires strategy, and you have to also have some fight sense too. And so that really captivated me.
So you had a pretty extensive amateur career. How would you say that extensive amateur career helped prep you for the professional bouts that you are now into?
I think with like every sport, especially in the beginning when you're learning something new, but then when you actually get to try to put it all together and apply it, there's a new sense of like experience that you gain from actually being in competition. So every fight that I had was uh, me building more experience in the sport. And I really felt like uh, after I like fought everyone that I could in the area, I felt like, I was getting how everything flows together, and fluid. Because a lot of times you train in the different disciplines, but when you actually get to compete, you actually put it all together.
Yeah. So you learned enough to felt like so you get to your first pro fight. What were your thoughts going in the first time? It was an Invicta event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it was pretty. It was exciting to be able to say that I'm having my pro debut on an Invicta card. So that was definitely a big thing. Coming to the promotion and fighting for my pro debut, it was a really great experience. I learned a lot, and I felt like by that time I had done everything that I could really do as an amateur. And it was just time to finally just jump in, and I went forward, and I'm pleased.
So you did lose that pro debut, unfortunately. What did you learn? And then you put that forth into your next two wins, I assume.
hmm Yeah. Like I was mentioning before, like the experience of like actually fighting is a whole another ball game. And so from that first experience was I needed to turn it on a lot sooner. Sometimes, just it was the pro debut. Maybe the part of that was that too, but um, I just felt like I was just a little reserved, and but that came along with just like I was still getting comfortable. But as as I came back and I had my next fight and the fight after that, every fight I was more comfortable. I had more tools that I felt comfortable using. So I feel like that first fight, I was probably a little bit more in my head and more hesitant and not just, ready to just go out there and just be comfortable. So I just feel like over my fights, I've become more and more comfortable in the cage. And that's what I've really gained and learned most from that, is just to trust in what I have and just use it and go for it.
So would you say in the next fight when you won, was it because you opened up a little more, you weren't as reserved and like you shook off the nerves?
My next fight, man, it was a long wait because I took a whole year off. And so I had really no reason not to go in and just fight, because I spent so much time just training and preparing that by the time I got there, I was really anxious and ready to actually go, because it's been so long that I was really just eager to make sure that I show a lot more than I showed the last time.
So you win your next fight, and then you come into this controversial split decision against Haley Cowan. Why do you feel that you won that fight?
Well, I still overall, I feel like I definitely did more. I had more significant damage. It kind of comes down to this subjective piece of the sport that still has yet to kind of be ironed out yet when it comes to judging. And you see that a lot in a lot of things. And, going into that fight, I knew that I was being brought in for someone that they were building up. So I visualized that as an option of happening. And I really wanted to go in and get the finish. And that lesson learned there was I really need to finish fights. But even beyond that, I know that the performance that I put on and what I did in each round, and I know that I did a lot more than she did to say that I had the win. But it's neither here or there.
So you mentioned that you think there should be some changes in judging, as do I. I think the 10-point score is a little outdated. What do you think some tweaks would be adequate to more perfect judging?
I think with any type of like coming from education, for example, if everyone measured, assessed like something with the same tool and had the same framework of this is how it goes, then we'll be able to say, okay, well, in this state, they judge it this way. And in this state, they judge it this way too. And in this state, there's this criteria. There just needs to be something that's uniform, that is agreed upon, that covers all the bases, and that's clear and concise, so that people know what to expect. They're not, oh, well, how is that judge feeling today about that? What does that look like? That's subjective piece. So it's just, there needs to be just a unified vision of what is being judged and how it's been judged, and it needs to be the same across the board.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. It seems like they have figured that out in one championship. I think they've gotten rid of the 10-point system. So I don't know. I hope that changes, because, it could be dealt with a lot better in a lot of cases. So you have this fight coming up against Autumn Norton at your return to Invicta. What's your thoughts going into this, and what's your mindset?
Well, my thoughts going into it is like, man, I've been waiting, it's been a long time. And coming from my last fight, I've obviously just wanted to keep the momentum going. But this time period with the pandemic and everything has been holding us challenges. And so if anything, I'm just really grateful that this opportunity is here to be able to get back into the cage and continue my growth and my climb in the sport. And I'm just, once again, just ready to get back on the winning column. So all the other details in between, it's just that I'm just coming in to get this win, and I'm ready to pick back up where I left off.
What challenges has the COVID pandemic presented to you during this time, training-wise?
Well, I feel like most people are, having the same issue, just with the uncertainty of things, mostly just closing of facilities and not being able to maneuver the way that we normally once was. Before, we were in a better situation to where, I could train, and where I was living was better. So there just has been just a whole disheveling of moving things around and adapting, and to figure out how I'm going to be able to, get my training in, be prepared, and still, be successful in light of, everything that's going on.
Do you feel like this time has made you a stronger fighter or person?
I mean, if it doesn't break you, in a sense, it will, as long as every piece of adversity is always going to, really make you focus in on yourself to find some areas where you may need to grow. And this one was definitely a very big mental one, just because of everything, how it connects to this life and what's going on, and what your passion, what your purpose is, and everything. And you either dig real deep to use that to fuel you and keep pushing you through it, or you let it kind of become your demise. And so I'm here, I'm 2 weeks out, I'm still tugging in, and I'm not going to let it completely, throw me off my path. So I've gained a lot of strength through this.
So after this fight, where do you see yourself going from here? Or do you just look at it as a fight by fight basis?
I like to I have long-term goals, of course, but in order to achieve those long-term goals, I must be focused on the task at hand. And so I want this win, and then I want another win. So that's all I'm thinking about is, okay, well, I'm going to get this win. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to execute that plan. And from there, it's like, I need to do the same thing, and I need to do it better. So just continually getting better, racking up more wins to get me to the big show.
All right. So that's a good place to stop it. So where can the people find you on social media, Brittney?
Well, you can find me on my social media platforms. It's The Quiet Storm MMA on Instagram and Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, same name for my fight page, and Brittney Cloudy for my personal Facebook page as well.
All right, Brittney, thanks again for coming on the podcast. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You can catch Brittney Cloudy in about 2 weeks on a Victim event in 2 weeks from today, right?
From yesterday.
All right. So you can catch her then. Brittney Cloudy, everybody.